Welcome to Star Bios, the podcast where we delve into the fascinating lives of Hollywood's most iconic stars. I'm your host, Casey Gold, and today we're shining the spotlight on the one and only Clark Gable. The King of Hollywood is a title that still resonates with movie magic, and for good reason. Gable's charismatic on-screen presence, rugged charm, and undeniable talent captivated audiences for decades. But before he became a household name, Clark Gable was just a small-town boy from Ohio, with big dreams and an even bigger personality. Born on February 1, 1901, in Cadiz, Ohio, William Clark Gable was the fifth of 8 children to William Henry Gable and Adeline Hershelman. Dorsadio. His early life was marked by hardship and determination. His father worked as an oil driller, and the family moved frequently throughout Clark's childhood, eventually settling in Hopedale, Ohio. It was in this small town that Gable developed a love for the outdoors and a strong work ethic, traits that would serve him well throughout his life. As a child, Clark was a bit of a wild card. He was known to be mischievous and adventurous, often getting into trouble with his siblings and friends. But he was also deeply curious and had a passion for storytelling, which he would later channel into his acting career. Gable's parents encouraged his creative pursuits, and he began performing in school plays and community theater productions at a young age. In 1917, at the age of 16, Gable dropped out of high school to work in the oil fields, following in his father's footsteps. This decision was likely driven by a desire to support his family financially, as well as to gain practical experience in a field that seemed secure. However, his true aspirations lay elsewhere, in the world of entertainment. As he worked in the oil fields, Gable would often regale his co-workers with stories and performances, honing his craft and building his confidence as a performer. The year 1919 marked a significant turning point in Clark's life. He traveled to Akron, Ohio, where he worked as a tire salesman and began taking acting classes at the local theater. It was during this period that he met Laura Hope Cruz, a veteran actress who would become his mentor and guide. Cruz recognized Gable's potential and encouraged him to hone his craft, helping him to secure small roles in regional theater productions. This pivotal moment in Clark's life not only introduced him to the world of professional theater, but also provided him with the guidance and support he needed to pursue his dreams. As we explore the early life of Clark Gable, it's clear that his formative years were shaped by a combination of hardship, determination, and creative expression. The seeds of stardom were sown in those small towns and theaters, where a young Clark Gable learned to harness his charisma and talent. His experiences in Hopedale, from his childhood adventures to his early forays into acting, laid the foundation for a future that would be marked by both triumph and tragedy. With his early life and training setting the stage for greatness, Clark Gable was now poised on the cusp of stardom. The 1920s were a transformative period for Clark Gable, marked by perseverance, determination, and a dash of luck. After working as an extra and struggling to find steady acting work, Gable landed his first major role in the 1924 play Machinal. Although the production was not a commercial success, it caught the attention of critics and helped establish Gable as a talented young actor. Gable's breakthrough on Broadway led to more substantial roles, including a part in the 1928 play Hawk Island. However, it was his move to Hollywood that would truly cement his status as a screen icon. In 1930, Gable signed with MGM and began appearing in small film roles, gradually working his way up to more prominent parts. One of Gable's earliest significant film roles was in the 1931 movie The Easiest Way, where he played a young reporter opposite Constance Bennett. Although the film received mixed reviews, Gable's performance caught the attention of critics and studio executives, who began to take notice of his potential as a leading man. Gable's subsequent films, including Dance, Fools, Dance, and The Finger Points, solidified his position as a rising star in Hollywood. However, it was his role as Ace Wilfong in the 1931 film, The Painted Desert, that truly showcased his talent and charisma on screen. As Gable's star continued to rise, he found himself at the center of a highly publicized romance with actress Rhea Langham. The two met on set and began a whirlwind affair, but their relationship ultimately ended due to Gable's increasing fame and the pressures of Hollywood. The year 1934 marked a turning point in Gable's career, as he landed the lead role in the film It Happened One Night, opposite Claudette Colbert. The movie's massive success catapulted Gable to superstardom, earning him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor and cementing his status as one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men. Gable's subsequent films, including Men in White and Chained, solidified his position as a major star. However, it was his role as Fletcher Christian in the 1935 film Mutiny on the Bounty that truly showcased his range and versatility as an actor. As Gable's fame continued to grow, so did his reputation as a charming and confident leading man. He became known for his iconic mustache, which he first sported in the 1932 film Red Dust, and his dashing good looks, which captivated audiences on and off screen. Gable's remarkable achievements during this period were not limited to his film work. He was also an avid outdoorsman and adventurer, with a passion for hunting, fishing, and flying. In fact, Gable was an accomplished pilot and owned several planes throughout his life, often flying himself to and from film locations. As we explore the remarkable achievements of Clark Gable during this period, it's clear that his success was not solely due to luck or circumstance. Rather, it was the result of his tireless work ethic, dedication to his craft, and unwavering passion for storytelling. As Gable himself once said, "The most important thing in acting is honesty. If you can fake that, you've got it made." With his status as a Hollywood icon solidified, Clark Gable was now poised for even greater heights of success. The 1940s were a transformative period for Gable, marked by both personal and professional challenges. In 1939, he married actress Carole Lombard, with whom he had a passionate and tumultuous relationship. The two met on set and began a whirlwind romance, with Lombard becoming Gable's third wife in 1939. Tragically, their happiness was short-lived, as Lombard died in a plane crash in 1942, at the age of 33. Gable was devastated by Lombard's death and threw himself into his work to cope with the loss. He went on to star in a string of successful films, including Honky Tonk and Somewhere I'll Find You. However, it was his role as Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle in the 1944 film 30 Seconds Over Tokyo that truly showcased his range and versatility as an actor. In addition to his film work, Gable also became increasingly involved in politics during this period. He was a vocal supporter of the Republican Party and even considered running for office himself at one point. However, he ultimately decided to focus on his acting career, which continued to soar throughout the 1940s and 1950s. In 1949, Gable married actress Sylvia Ashley, with whom he had a more subdued and stable relationship. The two were together until Gable's death in 1960, and Ashley became a source of comfort and support for him during his later years. As Gable's career continued to evolve, he began to take on more mature and complex roles. He starred in films like The Misfits, which was written by Arthur Miller and co-starred Marilyn Monroe, and Call of the Wild, which showcased his ability to play rugged, outdoorsy characters. Throughout his life, Gable was known for his love of adventure and the outdoors. He was an avid hunter, fisherman, and pilot, and often spent his free time exploring the wilderness or flying his own planes. This sense of adventure and rugged individualism became a hallmark of his on-screen persona and helped to cement his status as one of Hollywood's most iconic leading men. As we look back on Clark Gable's remarkable life and career, it's clear that he left an indelible mark on the film industry. With his dashing good looks, charming personality, and undeniable talent, he captivated audiences around the world and inspired generations of actors and actresses. As Gable himself once said, "The only thing I can do is act, and I'm not very good at that." With a career spanning over 3 decades, Clark Gable's legacy continues to endure, inspiring new generations of film enthusiasts and professionals alike. His iconic roles, memorable performances, and enduring charm have solidified his place as one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men. And so, as we conclude our journey through the life and career of Clark Gable, we're reminded that his impact on the film industry will be felt for years to come. That's all for today's Star Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Casey Gold reminding you to keep shooting for the stars.